Hello people, I'm Ginny Metheral, I'm a 4th generation witch. Now I thought I'd like to just discuss a little bit about Christian witchcraft. I get trolled quite a lot by people who say, you know, burn the witch should die, follow Jesus. Now, I have absolutely nothing against the Christian religion. I was brought up as a Catholic by my very much Christian witch mother. However, I don't really like the trolling, so I thought for a bit of fun I would respond to this trolling and point out how Christians practice witchcraft in their everyday. There's a massively annoying fly in here, and I can't get rid of it. Hold the line, please, caller. I think it's gone. I think we're good. Well, I very much hope so. Anyway, so back to being a Christian witch. So I want to discuss just a few of the rituals that you will do on the daily. You could be Christian, you could be Muslim, you could be Hindu, Buddhist. You probably do all of these if you live in a Western culture because it's part of our traditions and heritage. So we're going to look at these traditions quickly and discuss how they came about. And you, as a Christian, are literally practicing witchcraft.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
The happy birthday. Now, this couldn't be more witchy if you tried. You form a circle, do you not, around the person. That's like the witch's circles, casting a circle. You place some flames on a cake, so an offering, and you put some flames on it using fire magic. And you all chant around said person, bringing them many returns of the day and happiness. And then they make a wish. As a witch, if I was going to make a wish and use my witchcraft practices, the first thing I'd do was cast a circle. Then I might say some incantations such as, you know, banish negative energy or whatever. Then I might light a candle with intention and blow it out, sending that intention out to the universe. And hence why we have the birthday cake tradition. That if you've ever sung happy birthday to someone in this format, you are absolutely practicing witchcraft. So I think we started off strong with the happy birthday. Let's move on. Number 2 that I'm going to talk about is knocking on wood. Knocking on wood comes from pagan and animist beliefs that the wood, or the trees, would house spirits. Now, as a witch, I personally do think that there are spirits of trees and spirits of woods in general. I might touch wood, and so knocking on wood or touching wood is something that I possibly would do. Yeah, no, I think I do this. However, when you knock on wood or touch wood, it's invoking the protection of those spirits or to ward off the bad luck that those spirits might bring you. So doing a bit of, oh, I hope it comes true, touch wood is a witchcraft practice. Have you ever been to one of those beautiful fountains or wishing wells and tossed in a coin along with your wish to hopefully come true? This is about ritual offerings that were made to water spirits. In previous witchcraft practices, you might throw a coin, something valuable to you. You would toss it into a sacred well in order to appease the deity or spirit that lived there. Everyday practice, it's just a fun touristy thing to do, isn't it? To go to a fine well like the Trevi fountain and toss in a coin. But actually, what you're doing is practicing witchcraft. You're practicing witchcraft. You're doing it. And I hope that your wish does come true. But if you're a Christian witch, should you be doing this? Should you? Should you be practicing this witchcraft, this wicked witchcraft? Witches, when they get married, do something called a hand fasting or hand tying ceremony, where hands are joined and tied together with ribbons, and this is kept as a symbolism of a partnership. I particularly like a hand fasting ceremony because they're so beautiful and, you know, jolly, and it is looking at those two people coming together in partnership as equals. Jumping of the broom or the hand fasting. These are country pagan practices from Northern Europe. Say you couldn't get to a church or a church was quite far away, you would use the old pagan practices of hand tying or jumping the broom in order to declare to the world that you two are going to unite together. Now, have you ever seen the paper confetti that people throw over each other at weddings? This paper confetti is often cut out with little horseshoes in it, some petals in it, some flowers, and these are all because that is the sort of thing that you would throw upon a newly married couple. You would show horseshoes for luck. You wouldn't throw horseshoes at them. You would strew horseshoes on the floor in front of them for luck, and you would throw rice for fertility. And this is basically a blessing spell. So for witches, if I was to bless you with the fertility of, many children, I might get a large bowl of rice and charge it up with earth's power and then throw it over a happy couple as they leave their wedding. And this would bring them many children. Not too many. I think I insisted on not having rice thrown at my wedding because A, I didn't want that many children, and B, I don't like rice. I'm possibly the only person in the whole world who doesn't think rice is very nice. Why are horseshoes lucky? It is not about the folklore tale of a farmer throwing a horseshoe over his shoulder and it hits bad luck. It's actually to do with the fact that horseshoes were made of iron, and iron keeps away the fae because they do not like iron. Hence why you would hang a horseshoe over your doorway. That's, a very common practice. I don't think there is a single stable yard in the world that doesn't have a horseshoe hung over its door. Traditional British witchcraft, although it's very common over the whole, as far as I can see, world. We do think and do believe that iron keeps the fae at bay. There are so many of these everyday practices, so I'm just going to list them. Crossing your fingers for luck. Crossing your fingers is actually a protective charm. It's not to do with getting good luck. It's actually to do with banishing bad luck, because that's what the cross does. And crossing your fingers is a way of mimicking that. And I'm not talking about the Christian cross here. I'm talking about the very pagan square cross. The other thing that you might do is to throw salt over your shoulder, because that's throwing salt in the devil's eye and therefore keeping bad luck at bay. In Christian baptism ceremonies at the moment, there is a huge amount of casting out the devil. Do you reject Satan and all his evil deeds? You have to say this during the baptism rite. Previous to this format of the ceremony happening, they used an awful lot of salt, and this was a pure cleansing ritual that the Christian church took directly from its pagan past. Salt is an incredibly protective mineral and it will cast out demonic entities, which is why you put salt around your house or across your door in order to keep them at bay on Halloween. I could almost go on and on and on because the list is really endless at this point. Making a wish is pure paganism. Carrying a lucky charm, carrying a talisman, finding a four-leaf clover. Anything along those lines is part of a pagan witchcraft practice. And so therefore, and a true Christian, you shouldn't be doing it. And if you think, oh, well, it's only superstition, it's a bit like if you say, I'm not playing any ball games, and then someone throws a ball to you and asks you to throw it back to them, and you are catching that ball, aren't you? And you're throwing it back to them, and therefore you are playing ball. So it's a bit like this, but with witchcraft. Do not practice these unless you want to be a witch. I would really love to know what you do that would shock a proper Christian, or maybe you are a Christian witch. There are many of them and I thoroughly approve. My mother was a Christian witch, my grandmother was a Christian witch, my great-grandmother not so much, she was a bit more pagan. Otherwise, please come and join my witchcraft course, which is up on my new website, ginnymetheral.co.uk, which I'll put on screen now. You can also subscribe as a supporter or maybe join the coven. Have a look. It's very exciting. And otherwise, I will see you in my next video.